We're live. What is up, swimmers and swammers? Welcome back to the SwimSwam Breakdown. As always, I'm your host, Coleman Hodges, joining you from Brooklyn, New York, joined by my fellow New Yorker, Sophie Kaufman, as well as the Dirty Double himself, Brendan Burns, coming to us from outside of Philadelphia. And today, we have a very special breakdown. We are going event by event and talking about every single individual event at the 2025 Women's NCAA Championships that kick off this Wednesday evening in Federal Way, Washington. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Event number one. We're not going to talk about relays separately. We will have a couple questions at the end via sink or swim where we get into relays, but we're going individual events. First up, 500 free. Sophie, I'm just going to throw this one to you first. What are you looking forward to about this the most? And of course, who do you see taking home the NCAA title?
There's a lot that I'm looking forward to about this event. I mean, the big headline, I think, is the two former Sandpipers, Bella Sims and Katie Grimes, going head-to-head against each other, which should be exciting on its own. But then you've also got a bunch of other swimmers who are right there in the mix with them this year. Jillian Cox and Aurora Rodcare have looked great. And then, there's tons of other Olympians, Anna Poplawski, Emma Wyant, Erin Gemmel, all here. So the 500 women's 500 free in particular has been really fast this season. So hopefully it really delivers in Federal Way. I guess if I'm going to have to pick a winner, I guess I'll stick with Bella to defend her title. She's looked great. She was faster than she went to win last year at midseason with 4:31. We didn't see her swim this at SECs, so we don't know what she has in store, but I'll take her to defend the title.
Mm-hmm. This event is insane, especially for an event that, what was it, two years ago, a 4:36 won? 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
4:36 took home the title. Now 4:39 doesn't even make the cut line. We have 41 women on the psych sheet who have been faster under the 440 barrier. 4:36 slots you in at 16th. 17th? Lillian Nesty, Texas freshman, is seated 17th with a 4:36. So it's definitely a lot of depth in this event. Brendan, any other commentary on the women's 500 free, and also who do you have winning for this event?
Yeah, as we mentioned, this event is insane. The depth is some of the best that we've ever seen at either men's or women's meets for any event. I mean, 17 people under the A cut is incredible. I think what I'm looking for, honestly, I do think there's going to be a big name or two or several that'll miss the A final. I think this prelims race, the first race of the entire meet, is going to be a fireworks show. It's going to have a really exciting start to the meet. And I think that there's going to be someone that might not be quite on their A game in prelims and they're not going to make the A final. In terms of the winner, I think I'm going to go with Jillian Cox from Texas. I think she's been on fire all year long. I know she's a sophomore coming off of a really good freshman year last year, but I think she's ready to take home her first NCAA title. And I'm going to go with, the Longhorn.
It's I don't feel like there's a bad pick in this field. It's interesting because Aurora Roguehair of Stanford, she's a senior. She did great last year. She almost beat Katie Grimes for the ACC title this year. But you can always count on Stanford to perform at this meet, specifically at NCAAs. Not that the other schools don't, but I feel like she's really going to be up there. As you said, Brendan, the prelims race for this, event one, day one, is going to be so exciting. And we will probably see at least one or two really big shocks from the prelims, or rather from just people missing out on that A final or maybe even that B final. But I'm gonna put my chips with the Stanford senior. I think she's just been ascending and ascending. She's gotten better every year. The field is very deep, but I think it's going to be about who can swim the race the best in the final, not necessarily who has the potential to go the fastest. And I think with a lot of youth in this field, maybe it'll go to age on this one. So that'll be my pick. I don't know if that's who I picked in my pick'ems. Honestly, every time I do pick'ems, I just kind of black out and click things and then hope for the best. Oh, we have a commenter saying Rogue Hair going to be the one not making the A final. Interesting. All right.
A hot take.
Yeah. Well, we've already got my picks in the doghouse, I guess. On to the next event, 200 women's 200 IM. I think this is one of the most anticipated head-to-head races. You've got Tori Husk and Alex Walsh, both seated at 151s. You've got a plethora of talent behind them. Brendan, I'll throw this one to you first. Just your initial thoughts on this race, and who do you think's coming out with the dub?
Yeah, unlike the women's 500 free, where I don't think there's a bad pick for the winner, I think this is going to be a two-horse race between Tori Husk and Alex Walsh. I'm going to give it to Alex Walsh. I think she's been really incredible all season long. She had a great ACCs. And Tori, I mean, she will definitely push Alex, specifically on the front half, but I think Alex has the back half to make up for
it. Sophie.
Yeah, this is an insane thing when you're thinking about like Tori Husk's career and all the success that she's had. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she does not have an individual NCAA title yet, because she ran into Douglas, Gretchen Walsh, and Alex Walsh in her events.
Mm-hmm. I get it. In 2023, did she win the 100 fly?
No, because Douglas won.
Okay, then yeah, you're right. That's correct.
It feels like
a fluke.
You're thinking about her lineup this year, so she's facing Alex in the 200 IM, and then she's got Gretchen in the 100 fly and the 100 free. It is very odd to think about Husk going this long, or maybe even her whole career, without an individual NCAA title. But I do think that, Alex is going to get her on this one. Tori beat her in 2023. I mean, they both were second to Douglas, but Tori got second. Alex was third. I think that, that's a strong indicator. They've both been 151s this season, but I think you got to give it to Alex here. This is her one IM event at NCAAs this year, and she's going to bring it.
Yeah, man.
I will say everyone picked Gretchen to win gold in the 100 fly last summer at the Olympics, and Tori showed up in a big way. So would not be surprised if Tori does the same here.
Tori's a racer, and I think we've always seen that. I don't think we expected her to beat Alex Walsh in the 200 IM in 2023, albeit it was by 1/100th of a second, but she still touched ahead of Alex Walsh, just also, 2 seconds behind Kate Douglas. I think everyone's argument from one point or the other about these two swimmers is that, well, Alex's best time is 1 second faster than Tori's, which is from 2024. And then Tori hasn't swam this event tapered in 2 years. Her best time is from 2023 because she took an Olympic red shirt last season. So especially with them coming in with essentially the same seed time, it really does feel very even and like it could go either way. I think just because it is short course, I'm going to give it to Alex because she's the at least 2-time NCAA champion in this event, if not 3. She's very experienced. She has been faster than Tori, and I think she can. It's her last NCAAs. She's going to want to go out with a bang. I think this is going to mean a little more to her. So I'm going with Alex Walsh as well on this one, but it is hard to count Tori Husk out in any race. Even the 100 fly or 100 free that are coming later in the meet, like with how dominant Gretchen is, like having Tori in that field is a definite threat to Gretchen. And we're going to get to those events later, but yeah, you can never count her out. Once again, Stanford shows up at this meet. They always do well. And specifically Tori Husk is a racer. She is going to be in that race for sure. Okay. Next up, women's 50 free. I don't think it's in question who the favorite to win this event is. Gretchen Walsh coming in with a 20.6. I'll get us started on our first sink or swim of this preview. Can Gretchen Walsh break the 20-second barrier in a 50 free flat start? Her best time is 20.3. She's got she has said this year she has big goals for herself. We've seen her go 19.9 from a relay swing. Do I think it's possible? I do. I honestly do. I think Gretchen Walsh is about to have. She had a revolutionary NCAAs last year, and I think she's going to have one again. I think it's hard to believe it because like my mind hasn't adjusted to how fast is possible, but I think we're going to see her do crazy things this season, this meet, and I think it's going to start with a 19.9 in the 50 individual freestyle. Sophie, what do you think?
Gosh, I mean, I would love to see it. Like, her best is a 20.37. That's a huge chunk of time to take off in a 50. I mean, I'm sure she can do it. This kind of is the moment. This is her last NCAAs. It doesn't seem like she's going to be on that 800 free relay to start the meet on the first day. So she'll probably be on the 2 medley, but still, this is her first event. She's so far ahead of the field just in terms of her lifetime best compared to everybody else's lifetime best that she's not going to have to exert too much energy to make the final like, the 500 freestylers are going to have to. So all of that really sets her up for success in this moment. That is so fast. And maybe like you said, I just haven't adjusted my brain to a world where that is possible. But I think she can get close. I think I'll sink it.
It's fair. It's fair. And no one thought Caleb was going 17.6. And that's my primary argument here. That's like what I got is that I think everyone's going to be shocked, and it's hard to say now, but that's what I'm predicting. Brendan, what do you think?
I would love to see it. Everyone would love to see it. Coleman, you have a great point with the Caleb Dressel argument. No one thought it was possible. I will say this: unlike Caleb, Gretchen's start has been a big critique for some people that have wanted to, see her maybe work on it. If she's worked on her start, if she has a 0.65, 0.6 reaction time, then I definitely think it's possible. So I'm going to sink it. But if she has worked on her start and she has an incredible start, then I think it's totally possible. I mean, she's going to trounce this field as she's the runaway favorite. I hope she goes 19.
We shall see. Aside from Gretchen Walsh, anyone else you're excited to see in this field? Just from a fan perspective, personally, Maria Molu of Cal. She's a freshman. She's been on fire this year. It's her first yard season. She's coming in with a 21.5. I'm really excited to see how she reacts as a freshman to this race and to this environment specifically. She did really well at ACCs. And I'm also very excited to see this number 2 seed, Julia Dennis of Louisville. She's just a junior, but she's been 21-0 already. And it's crazy to me that we're seeing more and more college swimmers who aren't Olympians or who aren't prominent on the international stage getting close to that 21-second barrier. I think we're going to see multiple women go 20 point, which we've seen before, but we haven't seen it from non-household names. And I think maybe one or two of these women are about to make themselves household names. So anyone else in this race you're excited to see?
I'm excited to see what Camille Spink can do here. She was great at SECs. Last year as a freshman, she didn't make the transition from SECs to NCAAs so well. She swam all her best at SECs. She went all best last month. And I'm really excited to see if she's kind of figured out how to make the double taper or at least the transition period work for her and what she can bring to this meet.
Yeah, I just got to talk to Camille last week. Good head on her shoulders, seemingly a very grounded swimmer, and it seems like she's maybe figured out some things between that transition from SECs to NCAAs. So hopefully we'll get to see some fireworks for her too. Brendan, anyone you're excited to see in the splash and dash?
I'm going to give a shout out to another Louisville sprinter, the 5th-year Gabby Albiero. She seeded a 21.7. I think that's a few tenths off her best. The Louisville women are a team that historically do very well, coming off of ACCs going into NCAAs. They're able to put all their chips in the middle when it matters the most, and I'm going to be curious if she can crack that top 5, maybe even top 3.
Mm-hmm. The Louisville sprinters, we probably do not give them enough love, and I think it's hard to be racing in the shadow and certainly in the same conference as the Virginia women at this point. But they have been historically good. I think they have at least 3, if not more, women who are all at 21 or better in this meet. So I think look for that Louisville sprint core to score quite a bit of points in this 50 free. Day 2, I guess it's technically day 3, but day 2 of individual racing, we kick off with the 400 IM. We've got, this is another Olympic showdown, Katie Grimes versus Emma Wyant for the top 2 seeds. It's not, I guess, the fastest field in terms of the top end. Katie Grimes is top seed at 59.0. So certainly not 5 seconds away from LA Easton's legendary 400 IM NCAA record. But Brendan, I'll kick it to you. Who do you see winning this race, and what races are you excited to see play out in this one?
Katie Grimes has pretty clearly established herself as the second best 400 IMer in the world behind Summer McIntosh. And I'm really curious to see what she does. And not just her first season in Virginia, but really her first semester. She came in midway. She's been swimming really well in dual meets. She swam really well at ACCs. She's my pick to win this race, but Emma Wyant, one of the defending champions, is going to push her really well. And she's also another Olympic medalist in 4IM. So I think it's going to be another great 2-horse race, but also Caroline Bricker is going to be a threat as well.
Mm-hmm. Sophie.
Yeah, I think I agree that Katie Grimes is going to win this. Before she joined Virginia, she was 357 at a sectionals meet, I think. And now, she's been 359 while a part of the Virginia team. So I think she's clearly the favorite here. Even without Alex Walsh, I think there's a good chance that this is still a Virginia swimmer who's going to win this race. But like Brendan mentioned, I'm really interested to see what the Stanford swimmers bring here, Caroline Bricker and Lucy Bell both. We've talked, Stanford shows up to this meet in a big way, and they have looked strong all season. Thinking back to last season, how we were thinking about the Stanford women, they really exceeded expectations at NCAAs, and they've brought back all their returning individual points. Plus they've added, Tori Husk who's back on the roster. So it just seems like they've been swimming with so much confidence and so much momentum this season. And are coming back to NCAAs in a much different place than, the expectations are very different, but I think they'll swim up to those expectations now. And I'm excited to see if these non-Olympic names can really push, Emma Wyant and Katie Grimes.
Yeah, it's cool to see how far Stanford has come since, their NCAA women's dynasty in, the late teens. They lost a lot of, again, household names, Olympic swimmers from their roster. But it seems like over the last 5 years, Greg Meehan has continued to build and build and build. And it seems like this meet could be a real culmination for a lot of these athletes. As we've mentioned, Aurora Roguehair in the distance events, Caroline Bricker and Lucy Bell in these IM events and mid-distance 200s. I think they're really going to shine. And then again, the addition of Tori Husk is a huge bolster to Stanford, but it'll be really great to see what this 400 IM core can do for Stanford. I'm also really curious to see what freshman Leah Hayes of Virginia, as well as Ella Jansen of Tennessee, can do. They're both seated at 401s. Leah Hayes, world championship team member in 2022 in the 200 IM. She has had a really solid year at Virginia so far. I'm curious to see just how far she can push some of her best times. So, yeah, I think this event's going to be really exciting. I think Katie Grimes and Emma Wyant, the two Olympians, are going to end up duking it out for gold. But I think we could see several women dip under that 4-minute barrier. I just don't think the winning time is going to be, Alex Walsh won with a 55, I think, maybe a couple of years ago. I don't think we're going to see that. I think 56 is kind of the ceiling for the winning time at this event in my eyes. All right. Brendan, I'm going to throw this next event to you first. Women's 100 fly. Tell me your thoughts.
Kind of I think it's going to be similar to the 50 free where Gretchen's going to run away with this one. But as we saw last summer, Tori Husk is going to be right there with her. This is short course, so I will give Gretchen the boost of underwaters. Hers are better than Tori's, but I mean, it's really difficult to count out Tori. I'm also looking forward to seeing what Emma Sticklin and also Miranda Grania. She's doing the dirty double light, 100 fly, 100 back. So I'll be cheering for my Indiana people there. But yeah, it's going to be. I mean, I will say I think Gretchen can go 46 here. I'm not sure about the 19, but Gretchen 46 watch is a real threat and possibility.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind for Gretchen going 46 on that one. And as well, she will become the first woman at the 46 barrier before anyone else has gone 47, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. Yeah. She's really pushing boundaries on this one. I think there'll be some great competition behind her. Really excited for freshman Leah Shackley of NC State. Every time I've seen her this season, she's just a bundle of energy and positivity. And she's had a great season for the Wolfpack so far. So again, we got some really exciting NCAA newcomers. So just excited to see how they perform. I think Emma Sticklin of Texas, this being her last NCAAs, she's had a lights out season, and I think she's going to put on a show as well. But yeah, I think it's Gretchen all the way. I think Tori pushes her and ends up getting second. Maybe becomes the second woman ever to get to that 47 mark. Sophie, any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I think kind of getting lost in Gretchen's Walsh is Claire Curzan a little bit in this event. She's been so great all season. This has been a really strong, I don't even want to say bounce back for her, but after missing her second Olympic team this summer, she's looked really good, hit lifetime bests in multiple events, including this one. She was 49.0 at ACCs, I think. So I do think that this is a Gretchen and Tori 1-2 finish, but I'm really interested to see, where Curzan falls in this mix with Tori, Emma Sticklin. Is she going to be able to push them, and what is that going to help her hit, if she gets under that 49-second barrier as well.
Okay, I got to correct you on this. I don't think Claire Curzan's swimming.
Is she not swimming?
I think she's doing 50 free and both backstrokes.
Yeah.
Never mind then. Well, then I guess I'll keep it in the ACC, and I'm excited to see what Julia Carvalho can do, going a little further down the psych sheet. Mm-hmm. She was a B finalist in this event last year. The Miami women have looked really good this season in the pool as well as in the diving well. And it seems like this is going to be a big culmination of their build up. And she's seeded pretty highly, 50 free, 100 fly. So I'm really interested to see if she can get into that A final this year.
I'm glad you brought Julia up because, yeah, I got to talk to her at ACCs. She had a lights out meet. I think she made A finals in at least 2 of her events, if not 3. Yeah, it just seems like she's been one to get better and better. Miami women have looked, I think, historically great for them throughout this season and certainly at their conference championships. So would love to see her crack that NCAA final for the first time in her career as a senior. So we'll keep our eyes out on that one as well. I think one of the most hotly contested races is next up with the women's 200 freestyle. Sophie, I'll throw this one to you first. There's a lot going on in this field. So how do you break it down?
Yeah, I mean, with Bella Sims not defending her title here, we'll see her in the 100 back later. This is kind of feels wide open, but maybe it actually isn't. Anna Poplawski has looked incredible this season. If you're a Big Ten fan, this is the race for you. The top 3 seeds are all Big Ten swimmers with Anna Poplawski, Stephanie Balducini, and Mina Abraham. But then, there's a ton of other swimmers who are going to push them. The 200 free has felt kind of chaotic for the last couple of years on the women's side, and this is really no exception. So I think kind of in that chaos, I would pick Anna Poplawski to be calm and be able to get the job done.
Sophie, what do you think of Bella Sims not opting for the 100 back over this event?
I kind of like it. There wasn't really a wrong choice for her here, I think. And after she broke 49 at SECs, it's really hard to say, well, I'm not going to see how much further I can take that. She swam 2 lifetime bests on that one day. So I'm excited to see her swim backstroke. She's looked really good all season. And I think it opens, Gretchen isn't in the 100 back. Bella's not in the 2 free. There's some really interesting opportunities here for some other swimmers who don't make as many headlines to really, do something special.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Brendan, women's 200 free. What do you think?
I'm going to be pulling for Anna really hard, but again, I think it's a little similar to the 500, not quite to the level of the 500 where there's so many A cuts, but I think it's going to be chaotic in the morning. Again, I think some of the top 8 seeds might not make it to that A final, but we'll see. I think Anna, she's been really incredible all season long. She actually did not win Big Tens. She was 3rd at Big Tens, didn't quite have the race at night that she wanted to, but I think she's going to use that to fuel her for this NCAA title.
Yeah, once again, just so much depth. I mean, I'm looking down the psych sheets like who's like the lowest seeded person who could actually make an A final here. I mean, and with NCAAs, you can never tell. It is really all about those morning swims, right? And how everyone reacts to them. On paper, it's obviously one thing, but then when everyone's in the water, it's a completely different ball game. But I'm surprised neither of you brought up the defending NCAA champion, Amy Canny, who has only been 142.00 this year, but also I don't think really has needed to step on the gas for herself this year. I think she's going to have a pretty good swim in the tank. She's also coming off an Olympic berth this summer. I think that all 4 of the top seeds are, if I'm not mistaken, Balducini for Brazil, Mina Abraham for Hungary, and Anna Poplawski for the U.S., and then Amy Canny for South Africa, as well as the 6th seed Erin Gemmel for the U.S. And then you've got Camille Spink at 5. I don't see Camille Spink winning this event necessarily, but I think any of those other top 6 have a legitimate shot. I think I would love to see Anna Poplawski last NCAAs get an NCAA title. I think what Amy Canny is going to have momentum on her side. I don't know how Indiana is going to play out, but I think we know Virginia is probably going to be rolling. And I think it helps to see your teammates just win and win and win. And we'll see how the 800 free relay plays out. I'm sure Amy will be on that. But I'm going to go with the defending champ on this one, just because Virginia is going to have a huge contingent there, and they're probably going to be 100 to 200 points ahead of everyone else in the field at this point. So I'm going to give that forward momentum to Amy. But I think this might be the best race in terms of how many people we have in this field who could actually realistically win the event that we see in this field. Maybe maybe rivaling the 500 free as well. Okay, next up, women's 100 breast. I'll start. I think Alex Walsh wins. She's the top seed. She's been working on sprint breaststroke. She's going to have some heavy competition, but she got to train with the Italian stallion last year, who was a sprint breaststroke extraordinaire, won an NCAA title. Jasmine Nocentini is who I'm referring to. And then this year, she's been working on her speed. I got to film it. I got to document it. You can watch it on SwimSwam. I think she entered this event because she wants to win a title and she saw an opportunity there. You've got two Tennessee volunteers in Mona McSherry and Mackenzie Soroki at seeds 2 and 3. And I think they are going to both challenge her and push her. You've got Caitlin Dobler in that field as well. But I think it's going to be Virginia, and I think it's going to be Alex Walsh in this one for me. Brendan, what do you think?
I think Alex Walsh is a great pick to win. I'm probably going to pick her as well, but I'm curious to see what the two freshmen out of the SEC are able to do. Mackenzie Soroki, former hockey player. That's always a great story. And then Anita Battazzo out of Florida. Sorry if I said that wrong, but they've been having kind of under the radar great seasons. I'm really excited to see what they can do in their first NCAAs. Olympic medalist Mona McSherry, also a threat as well. If anyone's going to win other than Alex Walsh, I think it's Mona. On St. Patty's Day, so I'll take the Irish girl.
Sophie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'll take McSherry as well. I think this is going to be a great race. We could see a few swimmers all hitting the flags together. Mona, she took the first semester off. She was traveling post Olympics and got back to Tennessee in January and had some, solid regular season results, and then just seemed to turn it on at SECs in a way that was surprising to me. And it just seems like she's back for NCAAs. Like that is the goal here. And I think that she's been close a couple times to get this title, and this is going to be the year that she does it.
Yeah, she's got a lot in her favor. I think what puts me over the top with Alex Walsh specifically in this race is that Mona is a great sprint freestyler. She's got speed in other strokes as well, certainly. But I think Alex's versatility gives her just the option. I think it helps in a training perspective, but I think it also will allow her to rev up and get going a little quicker. Just that that athletic part of a swimmer, or that athletic part of getting up to speed, I think that'll benefit her. Mona is primarily known as a breaststroker. We've seen Alex Walsh do everything. And so I think the fact that she will be focusing on other strokes, racing other things, and won't have to put too much pressure on her breaststroke. Again, this is what I'm predicting. I think it's going to help Alex. I think she'll get it for the dub. But
she had a really strong close, right? When she went that 56.9, it was something ridiculous. Like the way she split that race.
I don't doubt it.
Yes.
I mean, she's been training for the 400 IM for the last few seasons. So like we know she can close. She swims on the 200 free relay and breaststroke on the 200 medley relay. She's got speed, but I think it'll be a great race. And certainly it's open for a few different women there. Also really curious to see how Alex's teammate Emma Weber does coming off of her Olympic berth this summer in the 100 breast. She seeded 10th at a 58.1. So maybe she makes her first A final. I believe she scored in the B final last year. So we'll see what she can do. Okay, next up, 100 back. Sophie, you already talked about this a little bit, so I'll just throw this one to you. Who do you see here? Who do you like? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to push against Bella's 48.9. She's the third woman to get under that barrier. But this should be a really exciting race, and there will be people who will push her. If she's not going a 48 speed, there's certainly, Claire Curzan, who is actually swimming this race. And then the NC State freshman, Leah Shackley, Erica Plays. We talked about Shackley before, but both of them have looked so strong. You've got Miranda Grana on the back half of her double, and then the SIU swimmer Celia Polito, who was the big mid-major storyline of last NCAAs. She made the A final in this race and the B final in the 200 back. She hasn't put up as much speed during the regular season as she did last year. And I'm curious if that's because, she was like, okay, I can make NCAAs and that's going to be my goal and what I'm really going to focus on. So I'm really interested to see that. I do think I'll take Bella Sims to win, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's Curzan, Shackley, or Plays. That wouldn't be shocking.
Mm-hmm. I'm just flabbergasted that the cut line here, Virginia teammates tied for the last spot, for the 36th spot, and it was 51-6. This meet is just obviously so quick and so much speed and so much depth in every event. But this event, 51-6 to make, like 51-7, and you're not going to NCAAs. Like that really flabbergasts me. But I mean, Bella Sims is an Olympian. She's an Olympic medalist. She knows how to win. She's an NCAA champion. Hashtag let Bella sprint. I'm glad that meme got willed into existence. I'm glad we're getting to see her in some shorter events. I think that's really exciting. Her underwaters are nearly as good as anyone else in the NCAA. So cool that we get to see her swim a little more backstroke. But I do see her, even though Claire has been focusing on backstroke a little longer. I see Bella pulling the win out here. But we'll see how her first foray in this event goes. Brendan, additional thoughts on the 100 back?
I think for me, the biggest storyline of this race is that 50 point ain't what it used to be. 15 swimmers entered with 50 point or better, 16th sitting at 51.0 from Barrett Berglund of Texas. I mean, there's a real chance that you could go 51 flat and not score points, which is incredible. Personally, I do like Bella to win this event, but Claire Curzan, I think she's better at the 200, obviously the NCAA American US Open record holder, but Claire will definitely push Bella. But I'm going to take the Gator to win.
Mm-hmm. Man, 15 swimmers at 50 point. Yeah, that's nuts. Should be illegal. Just kidding. We love fast swimming. All right. Last day, day 4. We start with the mile, the women's mile. I don't think there is quite as much depth in this as some other events. I think the top 2 are really looking good. But Brendan, I'll throw this one to you first. What are you excited for about this mile, and who do you see taking it home?
I'm going to take who I took in the 500. I'm going to take Jillian Cox from Texas. She's been, I don't know how many times she's raced the mile this season, but every time that she has, it's been a pretty lights out NCAA scoring worthy time, which is pretty impressive for distance swimmers to do in season. I think that the Bowman training at Texas has been doing her wonders, and she's my pick. Although I do think Aurora Roghair from Stanford will put up a good race. Behind her, there's a pretty big gap, but I'm curious to see who's going to step up. Sometimes someone from the early heats just kind of really feels themselves and they throw up a time that's either top 16, top 8. So I'm always looking for someone from the early heats to sneak into the top 16, top 8.
Mm-hmm. Sophie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, on that, like, we didn't know if Katie Grimes was going to enter this race. She's here and she's 9th. So she won't be in the final heat. She'll swim in the morning. This is another use, we were talking last time about pace lighting. This would be a great use for pace lights at the bottom of the pool for swimmers to see the early heat mile pace. She could win this event from the afternoon. I
wonder when the last time we saw that was from like men or women at an NCAA championships.
I don't know about NCAAs. I know Andrew Taylor won at SEC's last year out of the early heats, but I don't know about NCAAs.
Yeah. I'm not, I don't know either, but man, yeah, if she could be like, put 15-15 up there, I'll kill this.
Yeah, I mean, or for the final heat to just be like, here is the time, here is what Katie Grimes is doing this afternoon, and here's what you need to do if you're going to beat her.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think for me, I'll take Jillian Cox as well. She's just looked so good this season. The seed times, she's 6 seconds ahead of everybody else with her 15:30. I think this is where, I picked Bella in the 500, but I think this is where Jillian Cox really gets to shine, and this is going to be her event.
Yeah, it seems like Jillian Cox, I think, has been primarily training with the men's team, the Texas men, this season, and she said that's been working really, really well for her. I think we've seen star distance swimmers do that in the past and have success, certainly under Bob Bowman as well. Allison Schmidt comes to mind. But I already picked Aurora Roquehair in the 500, and I think Katie Grimes is also going to go really fast. So to me, it's a 3-horse race, but again, the evening, even though they don't have the lights, they do have the advantage of getting to see what Katie Grimes throws down. And I think that's what makes it so hard to win from the afternoon, right? Is that you have 8 other women who are like, okay, there's the mark's been set. Now I get to go do it. So from that perspective, I think I'm going to go with Aurora Roquehair again. Also, someone commented Virginia won't win everything, Coleman. They're going to win most things. I don't know what they were referring to specifically, but like if Katie Grimes wins this, I can't say I'll be too surprised. Like Virginia is going to win a lot of things from my perspective. We could see it shake out differently, but this women's mile, it is going to be fast, I think. Certainly not NCAA record fast, which is 15:03. Top seed here is 15:30, but it is going to be, I think it's going to take under 15:30 to win, which I don't think we've seen in quite some time. We have 17 women who are under 16 minutes. So we've certainly got some depth in this distance freestyle event. Next up, women's 200 backstroke. We've got Curzan v. Sims once again. Claire Curzan is top seed with her American US Open and NCAA record of 146.87. Is that the record? Yeah. And then we've got a plethora of talent behind them. Sophie, what do you see for this 200 back?
Yeah, not to pick the Virginia swimmer again, but I'm going to pick the Virginia swimmer, and I think it's going to be Claire Curzan who wins this. She's just so far out in front of everybody else here. I think there's going to be a really intense race behind her. Something I'm going to be watching for is Phoebe Bacon. She's won this event twice. She's never finished worse than second in this race at NCAAs, but this year I think Bella Sims is really going to push her for that, for her to be able to keep that streak alive. I think it's Bella who's second on the psych sheet with their lifetime best from SECs. So, we've talked about it already, but her backstroke is clearly feeling really good. Plus Leah Shackley's back 148.7, then Staden and Josephine Fuller. If Phoebe Bacon is going to be top 2 again, she's really going to earn it this year.
Mm-hmm. Brendan?
So I picked Bella to win the 100 back. I think Claire, as the current NCAA and American record holder, it's really difficult to pick against her. Her underwaters are so elite. I'd say, easily top 3, top 4 women in the world underwater. She was the world champion last year in the 200 backstroke. I think this is kind of her bread and butter. I'm going to pick her to win it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the more easier calls of this field. She's coming in with a lot of momentum. She broke the American NCAA. She broke all the records this season. And we've seen her win this event at NCAAs before 2 years ago when she was a freshman at Stanford. So I think that's an easy pick. I like what you mentioned, Sophie. Phoebe Bacon, her last NCAAs, she always shows up and kind of sneaks her way in there. I mean, seemingly she has snuck her way onto 2 Olympic teams, right? But still, I think this might be her most challenging field yet to break into that top 2 or 3. Next up, women's 100 freestyle. Gretchen Walsh for the win. I don't think anyone's questioning that. I think we're going to see a 44 low. I can't say we're going to see a 43. If it was on day one, I might. But 44 low from Gretchen Walsh. I think Tori is also going to dip 45 low, maybe even a 44 as well. And then we've got a lot of sprint depth and talent behind them. But this one's always interesting, right? Because it's the last day. Everyone's exhausted from this competition. So 100 free is always kind of a crapshoot. So I think we could certainly see some surprise A final appearances here. Brendan, what do you think about this race?
I think it's going to be another Gretchen Walsh masterclass, her final individual race at NCAAs. I don't think it's a super controversial take. But then again, I mean, we saw Tori Husk get a surprise silver last summer behind Sarah Sjöström at the Olympics. Tori's going to be as close as she can to her. I think she's the only one that can really threaten Gretchen. I'm also curious to see how many women are able to go 46. Not too long ago, 46 was a really unimaginable barrier, but now we're going to see 5, potentially 6, 7, maybe even the entire A final go 46, and that would be really exciting if we can get that.
Yeah. Sophie.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that's been said. I think this is, again, a pretty straightforward event. On paper, we certainly have seen surprises. I think 3 years ago, Tori missed the A final in this race, which in 2022. I don't think that's going to be the surprise this year. I think she's going to be, she's on it, and she's going to turn in a really special swim to get second place behind the special swim that Gretchen's going to do. But I do agree that there's real room for surprises here. I'm trying to look down the list and identify who I think is going to be the one to benefit most from the surprise swim. And I think it's hard to call, but you've got, I'm just looking at the bubble for second swim. You've got Tatum Wall from Duke, 47.6, Christina Pagel, 47.66, Teresa Ivan, 47.7. If anybody above them is off in the morning, they'll be able to really capitalize and sneak into that A final and even. So it'll be an exciting morning for sure.
Absolutely. I'm looking as well a little bit further down. Grad student from Virginia, Maxine Parker. Haven't talked about her too much today, but she's been a key relay piece for UVA. She's also been an NCAA scorer multiple times. I think she has a very good shot at not only getting a second swim, but making that A final as well, just because she's done this meet so many times. And once again, UVA is going to have some real momentum heading into that last day when they'll probably be hundreds of points ahead, and especially knowing that it's Maxine's last chance for an individual swim at NCAAs. Okay, 200 breast. Okay, now this one is a real talk. I'm excited to see what you guys say. We don't have like a heavy favorite here. Lucy Bell from Stanford Jr. is top seed, 2046. Kaylin Gridley of Duke, 2057 is the next. That is second seed. We've got Mona McSherry at third. Avery Wiseman of Alabama at fourth. You've got Kinsey Soroki, who we mentioned again, at sixth. Amy Canny, NCAA champion in the 200 free, is seated seventh here. Her UVA teammate Emma Weber, once again an Olympian, is eighth seed. But there are a lot of possibilities here. So, Brendan, I'm going to throw this one to you first. What do you make of this pretty wide open field?
Yeah, definitely agree. It's a wide open field, but it's St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to go with the Irish girl, Mona McSherry of Tennessee, feeling Celtic today. But as we mentioned before, I mean, I really don't know if there's a super strong pick. I wouldn't really disagree with anyone saying that anyone in the top 6, 7, 8 could win this race. I'm curious to see what the two highest seeded Big Ten swimmers are going to do after a really crazy race at Big Tens where Caitlin Dobler and Bree Crawford tied for gold in the 200 breaststroke, 207.22. They're both seeded 10th. I'm curious to see what they're going to do at this meet if they can crack into that A final.
Yeah. Sophie, how do you see this shaking out?
Um, I, I agree. You can make a defensible pick for the top 6, 7 swimmers here. I think Lucy Bell sitting at first after deciding to focus on this event just this season. She hadn't really been doing it before. Is really intriguing to think about. Okay, what's she going to do at NCAA's fully tapered? Kaylin Gridley was a big breakout at Olympic trials and has just continued to look really strong. And I'm excited to see what she can do as well. So to see them at the top is really exciting. In some ways, this is similar to the 200 freestyle in that, you have the defending champion out of here and it's kind of created chaos. And also a really big opportunity for tons of people to step up. I picked Mona in the 100 breaststroke. I think her 100 breaststroke is a little bit more on. So I'll pick Kaylin Gridley. I don't know when Duke last had an NCAA champion, so that would be really cool to see.
Have you read a Mormon NCAA champion?
I
Mackenzie
also
Miller,
answer
5th
that.
seed.
Yeah, I have no idea, but that would be Duke or Brigham Young would be both be pretty wild to see as NCAA champions. Certainly haven't seen that in quite a while.
9th seed Emily Lundgren from Washington State. That'd be a great final edition as well.
This is the great part about breaststroke. You get like some really out there, schools that we don't normally see putting up a lot of a final potential or just qualifiers for NCAAs. I feel like breaststroke is the stroke where you get the most of just like these smaller schools that are not traditional swimming powerhouses.
Swimmer from Eastern Michigan a couple years ago, who was it? Delaney Duncan. She was the
Yeah.
NCAA runner-up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she, again, had a lights out performance. And that was a really cool story to be able to report on. But I'm going with top seed here. I think Lucy Bell, the thing I like about her the most, aside from the fact that she's from Stanford, so I have confidence that she will swim fast at this meet. She's got that aerobic base, I think a little more than a lot of these breaststrokers who maybe focus on the 100 and 200 breast more. She's training for the 400 IM, and so I like the fact that coming into the last day, I am confident she can give me 2 good 200s and not only qualify for the A final, but throw down in that A final at night. And so I'm going to go with Lucy Bell for the win, but it'll be really fun to see where the dominoes fall on this one, because there is so much potential for movement here. Last individual event of the meet, best individual event of swimming, the women's 200 fly, and also the in my mind most anticipated race of the meet, because you have defending NCAA champion Emma Stickland versus NCAA record holder and former NCAA champion Alex Walsh, two real college swimming legends just duking it out head to head. I had no idea of this until I interviewed Emma Stickland last week. She was 4th at the 175 last year at NCAAs in this event and won by a body length. So it is really hard to bet against her. And that's why I'm going to listen to what you all have to say before I say who I think is going to win. So Sophie, let's have you first. What do you think about this race? Alex Walsh, Emma Stickland, or otherwise?
I think Emma Stickland gets this done, wins again. Her closing 50 is so strong. We've seen her use it to chase down Alex Walsh to win an NCAA title before. It would not surprise me if Alex is out ahead, with 50 yards or even 25 yards left to go. But I think that Emma's proven to have a really strong back half. We saw her miss the NCAA record by 100th at SECs. She wants that record. She's going to have the record holder next to her in the same field as her. that's going to be a really strong motivator for her, when she hits that 175 wall and needs to complete the chase.
Brendan?
I'm a little biased with this race as a former 200 butterflyer, but I always think that for whatever reason, the drama always gets turned up in this race, as we've kind of outlined, as Sophie kind of expertly outlined. Emma just missed the record, but you'll have Alex Walsh, the record holder, right next to her. It's going to be an incredible last race of NCAAs. I'm going to go with Emma Sticklin. I think she's been dropping 149s pretty automatically all season long. And I mean, it's really tough to pick against Alex Walsh, but I think that Emma just kind of really has honed in on this being her race. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how many swimmers Texas can get in the top 5, because they've really established themselves as kind of the premier women's butterfly group in the country. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
We've got, just on the psych sheets, we've got Sticklin at number 1, Campbell Stoll at number 3, Olivia Bray at number 7 for the Texas women. And then we've got Angie Coe at 39th. So they've got 4 entrants, 3 currently sitting in the top 7. As you said, the Texas women have had a legendary 200 butterfly group for the last few years, and I think this will be no exception to that. It's hard to argue against Emma Sticklin's season in the 200 fly. She's gone 149 more times than almost anyone in history has gone in their career, like once. Right, she's done it like 3 or 4 times this season, I think. As previously mentioned, 1/100th away from Alex Walsh's NCAA record. I think they've both done what they need to do to prepare for this. Emma Sticklin has been remarkably consistent and put together a crazy good body of work. Alex Walsh has taken her mind completely off of the event, only raced it 2, maybe 3 times this whole season, and just not really worried about it that much. And seemingly has put herself in a good position to have a really good swim in this, I think, because of that. Because I think for Alex, it's going to be more of a mental thing than like, is she physically prepared to do this? But I'm going to go with Emma Sticklin too. She's 2-time defending NCAA champion. She's beaten Alex Walsh head-to-head before, and she's gutsy. She when the lights are on, she shines. Not to say Alex Walsh doesn't. I think she's had a ton of insane performances when the lights are the brightest. But in this race, I'm going to give it to the Longhorn. And that is our individual event by event preview. We will finish up now with just a few sink or swims. All right, relay time. Sink or swim, UVA is sweeping the relays. Brendan, what do you think?
As much as I want to say swim, I think it's a real possibility to say swim. I won't really argue against anyone that does say swim. I'm going to sink it. I think they might just be one key piece short of an 800 free relay title or a 200 medley relay title. I'm not sure what they're going to decide to do, but I'm going to sink it. But would not be surprised if it happened.
Mm-hmm. Sophie?
Yeah, I swam this when we did this question for Indiana men's Big Tens. That I've learned from my mistake. I will be sinking it. I think the Virginia women have a better shot to do it than Indiana did at Big Tens. But I agree that the 800 free relay is going to be the big question mark here. They certainly have the pieces to win that event and complete the sweep. But, the other teams aren't going to just let them walk all over them for these titles. I think someone, maybe most likely Florida, the defending champions, are gonna be able to pull out the win there and stop the sweep from happening for Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if I'm gonna create a hypothetical, just going through this in my head, Claire Curzan, Alex Walsh, Gretchen Walsh, Anna Moish, Maxine Parker, Amy Canny, Alex Walsh, Anna Moish, Katie Grimes. Do I think that relay can win? Could Claire Curzan swim? No.
Wasn't she? She was on the relay at ACCs, right?
She was, but I'm thinking like what relay do you leave her off of then? Is it the 200 free relay? Because like I'd rather have Claire Curzan on the 200 free than the 800 free. I think. So in my hypothetical, and that I guess I'll sink it. I think it's I'm with you all. I think there's a high chance that they sweep, or that there's a world where they sweep for sure. But it's just really hard to when every team is throwing everything they've got, and you can't necessarily put your best pieces, all your best pieces, on every single relay. Okay, I'm sinking too. But we shall see. Especially that night one when there's 2 relays. I think if the relays were like 1 per day.
Yeah. Well, I think it
UVA would
also
definitely do it.
I think it kind of depends. Their relay lineups kind of depend on what they want. Like, what are their goals? Do they want to break all the other NCAA records, or are they going for the sweep, and kind of leaving those records be? You know, if we get them, great, but that's not our explicit aim. That's going to determine a lot of the lineup decisions they make.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I think those are 2 very different goals, right? And it's the lineups will look different depending on if they want to win 5 relays versus break 4 relay records, since they already broke the 800 free at the other meet, ACCs. All right. Next up on Sink or Swim, over or under 6.5 individual NCAA records get broken at this meet. So basically at least half, or under half of there's 14 individual events. Do you think at least half get broken? I'll start. I'm going over. I don't even know what 7 I think will get broken, but I'm saying 7. Let's talk it out. Gretchen breaks 3. That might have been a terrible swim. I'm gonna say Claire goes a best time. Do we think Bella can break the 100 back NCAA record? No. Do I think someone can break the 100 breast? 200 fly? Yes.
Relays don't count?
Relays don't count.
Okay.
That's only 5.
Yeah.
Even with the 100, if I said the 100 breast, which is kind of ridiculous, that'd be 6. Okay, I take it back. Sink. All right. What do you guys think? Brendan, sorry. Sink or swim? Or sorry, over under 6.5.
I think I see 6 getting to 7 or 8. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think through my head of where it could come, and I really don't know. It's tough when you have a kind of a consolidation of power with Virginia, where they have to pick and choose what records they want to break. If it was a little bit more spread out, then I think that number would be easier to attain, but I think I'm going to sink it for that reason.
Yeah. God, I wish Missy's 200 free record was on the chopping block, but I can't see that happening. Sophie, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a sink for me too. I can get to 5 pretty comfortably. It's the last 2 that are the challenge that make this a really hard thing to go over, even as much as I want to, and how cool that would be. I think Gretchen's 3 events, the 200 fly, the 200 back, are pretty safe bets. It's the last 2 that would be the big gamble, and I don't have a good case to make for 2 other ones going down. So I'll go under on this one.
Yeah. Dang. I think this has already been like kind of talked out in the comments too, but I really just want to see as many records as possible, but maybe this is the time. But speaking of consolidation of power, Brendan, this was your over under. I thought this was a great one. So we'll end the podcast with this. Over under 3.5 schools take home individual NCAA titles. And Brendan, I'll throw this one to you first.
I think I'm going to go over. I think in my head, I have Virginia, Florida, Texas, Indiana, Tennessee.
Okay.
And maybe one more. So I'm going to go with the over for my own
5.
question. But I mean, that could go out the window pretty quickly. So we'll see.
Fair enough. Sophie, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to what I've actually just said in the last hour. And I think that based on who I've said is going to win, I've picked the over as well, because I think I've got Virginia, Florida, Tennessee, Duke, Texas, and Indiana. So that's over, and I'm going over. I think it's more interesting if it's over. If it's under, it's a little less of an exciting meet, I think.
I'm definitely agree with you. I'd love to see a lot of crazy stuff happen and different schools win events. I'm trying to think of what I said. I know I said Stanford, Texas, and Virginia. I think I might have had Virginia winning so many events that might, and Stanford both winning a lot of events that might be, and then Texas kind of falls in there of like the ones that maybe. I guess I'll go under. I think it might be a little bit of a boring meet in this regard. I think these 3 teams look really good and primed to show out, and it's gonna be the Virginia, Texas, Stanford show, I guess. But there's a reason we swim the race. I think it'll be a very exciting meet from a lot of different perspectives. And that's our podcast. So thank you everyone so much for joining and listening, and stay tuned to SwimSwam because we will see you in just 2 days for the